You're doing everything right. You go to bed at a decent hour. You avoid your phone before sleep. You even bought blackout curtains. And yet, night after night, you lie there, staring at the ceiling, wondering why sleep won't come. Or worse, you fall asleep only to wake up at 3 in the morning, mind racing, body exhausted but unable to rest. What if I told you the problem isn't your sleep habits at all? There's an ancient Japanese approach to sleep that most people in the West have never heard of. It's not about melatonin supplements or sleep tracking apps. It's not about counting sheep or listening to rain sounds. It's about something far more fundamental, something the Japanese discovered centuries ago and have been practicing ever since. And once you understand it, you'll never look at sleep the same way again. His name was Kenji, 52 years old, a senior analyst at a Tokyo financial firm. The kind of man who prided himself on discipline. He woke at 5:30 every morning. He exercised. He ate clean. He meditated. On paper, Kenji was the picture of health and balance. But there was one problem that haunted him every single night. He couldn't sleep, not properly anyway. He'd fall asleep around 11, then wake at 2, then 4, then 5:15, just before his alarm. Each morning, he'd drag himself out of bed feeling like he'd been in a fight. His colleagues noticed. His wife noticed. But Kenji, being Kenji, refused to admit defeat. He tried everything. Sleep podcasts, breathing exercises, chamomile tea, magnesium supplements. He even consulted a sleep specialist who prescribed medication. Nothing worked. Then one weekend, visiting his grandfather in rural Kyoto, everything changed. His grandfather, 87 years old, still rose before dawn and worked in his garden until sunset, and every night he slept like a stone. Kenji finally asked him the question that had been eating at him for months. "Oji-san, how do you sleep so well?" His grandfather smiled. Not the polite smile of someone about to give generic advice, the knowing smile of someone who understands something most people don't. "You're trying to control your sleep, Kenji. That's your problem. Sleep is not something you do, it's something you allow." That conversation introduced Kenji to Nemuri no Gi, the ritual of sleep. Not a bedtime routine, not a set of tricks. A complete philosophy of rest that aligns your body with the natural rhythms that have governed human life for millennia. And here's what nobody tells you about sleep. The reason you're struggling has nothing to do with stress or anxiety or your mattress. It has everything to do with the fact that you're living completely out of sync with your body's ancient operating system. Your body doesn't run on your schedule. It runs on something called your circadian rhythm. This internal clock has been carved into your biology over hundreds of thousands of years of evolution. It responds to light and darkness, to temperature changes, to meal timing, to physical activity. When you align with this rhythm, sleep becomes effortless. When you fight it, every night becomes a battle. Here's the shocking part. A study from the University of Tokyo found that 68% of modern adults are living in what they call circadian misalignment. That means more than 2/3 of people are operating against their own biology every single day. And the consequences go far beyond just feeling tired. Chronic circadian disruption is linked to obesity, depression, weakened immunity, and even shortened lifespan. Your sleep problem isn't a sleep problem. It's a rhythm problem. And the Japanese approach to fixing it is completely different from what you've been taught. Nemuri no Gi begins with a principle called sun following. From the moment you wake up, your first task isn't checking your phone or making coffee. It's exposing your eyes to natural sunlight. Not through a window, not with indoor lights. Actual sunlight. even on cloudy days, even for just 5 minutes. Why does this matter? Because your circadian rhythm is controlled by a cluster of cells in your brain called the suprachiasmatic nucleus. These cells respond to light entering your eyes and use that signal to set your internal clock. Morning sunlight tells your brain, this is the beginning of the day. Start the timer. And exactly 14 to 16 hours later, your brain will naturally begin producing melatonin, the hormone that makes you sleepy. But here's where most people sabotage themselves. They wake up, stay indoors under artificial light, and never give their brain that crucial morning signal. So their circadian rhythm drifts. It loses its anchor. And by the time night comes, their brain doesn't know if it's supposed to be awake or asleep. Kenji started going outside every morning. No phone, no distractions. Just standing in his small garden, facing east, letting the morning light hit his face. 5 minutes. That's all it took. Within 3 days, he noticed something strange. He started feeling naturally tired around 10 at night, not forcing it, not trying to wind down, just genuinely sleepy. But morning light is only the first part of Nemuri no Gi. The second principle is called temperature descent. The Japanese have understood for centuries that your body temperature must drop for sleep to occur. This isn't metaphorical. Your core body temperature naturally decreases in the evening as part of your circadian cycle. When this drop happens smoothly, sleep comes easily. When it's disrupted, you toss and turn. Here's what most people get wrong. They think a hot shower before bed helps them relax, and it does, temporarily. But physiologically, it raises your core temperature right when your body is trying to lower it. The Japanese approach is different. You take a hot bath or shower 90 minutes before you want to sleep. Not right before bed. 90 minutes before. Here's why that matters. When you get into hot water, your core temperature rises. But when you get out, your body overcompensates. It rapidly lowers your temperature to cool you down. And that dramatic drop in temperature 90 minutes later. That's exactly when you want to be getting into bed. It hijacks your body's natural cooling process and amplifies it. Kenji started taking his evening bath at 8:30 instead of right before bed. He kept his bedroom cool, around 65 degrees, and he wore light, breathable clothing. He was working with his biology, not against it. The third principle is the most counterintuitive. It's called hunger spacing. In Zen monasteries, there's a strict rule about eating. No food after sunset. Not because of religious doctrine, because the monks discovered something profound about digestion and sleep. When you eat late at night, your body has to divert enormous energy to digestion right when it should be preparing for rest. Your metabolism fires up. Your body temperature increases. Insulin spikes. All of this signals to your brain that it's time to be active, not time to sleep. The Japanese approach is simple. Finish your last meal at least 3 hours before bed. If you must eat something, make it small and light. A handful of nuts, a small piece of fruit. Nothing that requires significant digestive effort. Kenji stopped his habit of late-night snacking. No more eating while watching television at 10 o'clock. His last meal ended by 7:30. The first few nights felt strange. He'd feel slightly hungry before bed, but his body adjusted quickly. And more importantly, he noticed that his sleep became deeper. He wasn't waking up in the middle of the night with indigestion or an active metabolism keeping his brain alert. But here's where Nemuri no Gi goes deeper than any Western sleep advice you've ever heard. The fourth principle is called mind emptying. Not meditation, not relaxation techniques. Something more fundamental, the Japanese concept of mu, nothingness. the practice of creating mental space before sleep by releasing the day. Most people bring their entire day into bed with them. Worries about work, replaying conversations, planning tomorrow, anxiety about not sleeping. Your mind becomes a battlefield, and you wonder why you can't rest. The Zen approach is different. 30 minutes before bed, Kenji would sit in Seiza position on a cushion, not to meditate, not to think about nothing, simply to acknowledge everything on his mind and consciously set it aside. He'd mentally list each concern. I'm worried about the presentation tomorrow. I'm setting that down until morning. I'm frustrated with my colleague. I'm setting that down until morning. One by one, each thought acknowledged and released. This isn't suppression, it's compartmentalization. You're not pretending problems don't exist. You're simply recognizing that lying in bed at night is not the time to solve them. And more importantly, you're training your brain to associate your bed with rest, not with mental activity. Within 2 weeks of following these 4 principles, Kenji's sleep transformed completely. He'd fall asleep within 15 minutes of lying down. He'd sleep through the night. And he'd wake naturally, just before his alarm, feeling genuinely rested. But here's what made the difference. He stopped trying to control sleep. He started creating the conditions that allow sleep to happen naturally. That's the essence of Nemuri no Gi. You're not forcing anything. You're aligning yourself with the rhythms that your body has been following since before you were born. Now, let me tell you where people go wrong with this. Mistake number 1, they try one principle and give up. Morning sunlight alone won't fix chronic sleep problems. Temperature control alone won't fix it. You need all 4 principles working together. They're not isolated tricks. They're a complete system. Your circadian rhythm responds to multiple inputs simultaneously. Light, temperature, food timing, mental state. When all 4 align, sleep becomes inevitable. Mistake number 2, they expect instant results. Kenji noticed changes within days, but his full transformation took 2 weeks. Your circadian rhythm doesn't reset overnight. It needs consistent signals, repeated daily, before it locks into a new pattern. Most people try this for 3 nights, don't see dramatic results, and quit. That's not how biology works. Mistake number 3, they're inconsistent with timing. Nemuri no Gi requires regularity, not just on weekdays, every single day. Sleeping in on weekends destroys the rhythm you spent all week building. Your body doesn't distinguish between Tuesday and Saturday. It only knows consistency or chaos. And mistake number 4, they still use screens at night. This is the silent killer of every sleep strategy. The blue light from phones and computers directly suppresses melatonin production. It doesn't matter if you have night mode enabled. It doesn't matter if you dim the brightness. The wavelengths still signal to your brain that it's daytime. If you're serious about fixing your sleep, screens must be off at least 1 hour before bed. No exceptions. So here's your challenge. For the next 7 days, follow all 4 principles of Nemuri no Gi. Morning sunlight within 30 minutes of waking. Hot bath or shower 90 minutes before bed. No food after 7:30. Mind emptying ritual 30 minutes before sleep. And keep your bedroom cool and dark. 7 days. Not perfect, not flawless, just consistent. And here's what you'll discover. Sleep isn't something you need to chase. It's something that comes to you when you stop fighting your own biology. The ancient Japanese understood something that modern sleep science is only now beginning to prove. You are not a machine that can be programmed to sleep on command. You are a biological organism that thrives on rhythm, routine, and alignment with natural cycles. Stop trying to hack your sleep. Start honoring it. Now I want to hear from you. What's the one habit you know is destroying your sleep, but you haven't been willing to change? Drop it in the comments, because naming it is the first step to fixing it.